Hello, and welcome back to A Fine Time for Healing. I am your show host, Randi Fine, and we are on YouTube now. Ever since January 1st, we've been doing videos. If you are already a subscriber, thank you, and make sure that you're giving thumbs up to those videos that you like. And if you're not, please subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications. And also, I want to ask you one more question. I'm thinking about doing some YouTube Live. So I'd like to know from you how many of you would like me to do that, if you would participate, and if you would submit some ideas for me, and I will go ahead and do that. And that way we can chat. So today we have with us Mounira Assoul. And let me read her bio to you. Thought I had it right in front of me. Okay. Mounira is, or Mimi for short, is the founder of the Inflow Method, Inflow.com. She is a certified eating psychology coach since 2020, as well as a qualified health and fitness coach for over 10 years. She specializes in habit changing, fat loss, progressive compound, and resistant training to gain healthy muscle mass and bone density. She is a certified Pilates instructor. Prior to that, she worked in public relations, management, and communication field, both for international companies and as a freelance consultant. She holds an MA in diplomatic studies and communication, as well as translation and interpreting. She speaks English, French, and Arabic. And we're going to find out more about Mounira, or we're going to call her Mimi now because it's easier, as we go. So welcome. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much, Randi. So happy to be with you. Thank you for having me with you. Thank you.
And you're in, are you in Scotland? Where exactly are you?
Yeah, I'm in Oxfordshire, so near Oxford, so England.
You're in England. Okay, great. Well, it's great. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as we have video.
Indeed.
I know that you said that you joined the Conservative Party in 2010 because you really felt like a change had to take place, and that it had to take place on an individual level. Tell us about what that motivation was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not sure if you were involved in any politics, but I have always been about change and participating, because I always thought that criticizing is easy, isn't it? To point out that everybody is wrong is so easy. Doing the work is hard. Right. So I thought, you know what? I studied international relations, politics, diplomacy, and I thought, let me bring in what I have as a human being and contribute. But what I realized, I love the experience, but what I realized is it doesn't matter which system we choose to have in society or in politics. Whoever runs the system is individuals, is people.
Right.
So unless the people have a certain level of consciousness and understanding, nothing will change. And you can call it democracy, you can call it whatever you want. It's just a notion. We get stuck in notions. So, and that's when it hit me hard. You know what? Let me start with, the individual first. And because I was very passionate about health and fitness since a young age, and I pretty much spend most of my life training, and not as an instructor, but just as a member of the different gyms, that I thought, you know what, that's my passion. Let me see what I can do, and that's how it all started.
Well, that's amazing. It's amazing what drives us to our journeys, or what leads us to our journeys. The journey I'm on, I had no idea I'd be on, so I get it. So you created the Inflow Method. What is the Inflow Method?
Yeah, the Inflow Fit Method, it is a very unique and revolutionary holistic approach to health and fitness. Actually, it goes against the current model of eating less and exercising more. It works by simplifying the basic elements of health. So this is really the thing, taking you back to the basics. working on hydration, sleep, breathing, stress. I think the health and fitness industry has become so complicated, and with so much information, I really see that people are lost. What's right, what's wrong, which diet, which not, what do I do, what do I not do? So I really wanted to simplify things for people. And actually the Inflowfit method takes you beyond the traditional goals of losing weight and becoming fitter and leaner and the usual targets. It actually helps you navigate through the everyday life with ease and joy, or simply put, to flow with life.
Well, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. So we don't have to count calories, and we don't have to just kill ourselves in the gym.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that those have been debunked. And in my book, you'll find all the science that debunks all that, it's all about counting calories and eating less and exercising as hard as you can at the gym. Just think about it, Randy. If you run hard outside or on a treadmill for about, let's say, 30 minutes to half an hour, that you'll burn the equivalent of a small bar of chocolate. It does not, honestly, it doesn't make any sense. Yet people still count calories in and out. It does not work. Right. It's actually more about what the calories do in your body rather than the numbers. Okay. And I think that's why, and I'm actually very proud to be part of a upcoming network of professionals in the health and fitness industry that are actually pushing that same message. So we need more of that to reassure people that it's not about that. It's about focusing on nutrient dense foods. It's what it does to your body. And actually, in my book, you'll find, which amazed me, that actually food is not just energy, it's information that speaks to your genes. So, we need to wake up. We really need to wake up to the truth.
And in order for that to happen, I just started working with a functional medicine doctor. And what I realized is that I'm not really absorbing what I need to absorb from the food that I'm eating. There's some issues that we're working on. But he's got me doing intermittent fasting. I've never lost weight so fast.
I'm glad you said that, Rani. I'm
dropping off of me like crazy.
Yes. And I, in my book, in the phase 2 detox, it's all about precisely detoxing the body. And of course, the best detox is not certain foods or whatever the diet, certain diets say, the juice only. Not that I'm against those, but in the long run, it's actually truly fasting that's the real deal here. And it doesn't have to be for long, because the latest research shows that true health literally equal a healthy, flexible metabolism, meaning your body needs to quickly and efficiently switch between glucose and ketones, burning on fat, because we are hybrid, machines. If you would like to say machines, I mean, I don't like the word machines, but we are hybrid. We're running on both fuels, glucose and ketones. But because of the unhealthy lifestyles, too convenient, funny enough, and the availability of the wrong foods, unfortunately, all the time, that we never use our ketones or fat. So we don't really burn fat as such, unless precisely as your doctor said, you need to practice a bit of fasting. And that's why fasting has always been used since the dawn of humanity. So we're just going back to the basics again.
Yeah, when he first said fasting, when he first said, fasting is going to be important for you, I'm like, oh, I need to eat. But what we're doing is 16 hours, which means
that's a protocol.
I finish my dinner by 5 or 6, and then I can eat my breakfast at about 10. So it's kind of stressful a little bit, because I've got to get that meal in, and I'm hungry in the morning and everything like that. But as I said, and I'm not doing it for weight loss, but that's a benefit of it. It's great. It's wonderful.
Unbelievable.
You say that the Inflowfit method is based on the principle that food and drink are not our sole sources of energy. So, if they're not, then what is?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I always thought that it's a very reductionist view um, of seeing a human being as just precisely a machine that needs food to run, you know? No, we're not. We're a lot more complex piece of life than just, you know, a mere machine that just needs to run on any type of fuel. And you can see it also from a perspective of emotional eating, for instance. Clearly, we're not really hungry, we're eating for other reasons. So there must be something more to it. Or when we're stressed, there's so many things that comes into it. But for the Inflow Fit method, a human being is, to be balanced, you know, truly balanced, you need definitely more than food and drink. You need love, be it romantic or, you know, in the general sense, love, because it's a purpose of existence. You need motivation, you need a purpose of life, you know, something that challenges you. You need vitamin D3, which most people apparently are lacking vitamin D3. The sun, you know, it's part of who we are. You need rest, sleep, you know, so it's very complex. Because any lack, and you'll see it actually in today's lifestyle, any lack in one or more of these, we are unbalanced. So if we lack vitamin D3, well, we have health problems. If you lack love, you know what, you overcompensate with food. Or work, people work too much because they don't have anything else in their lives. So we overcompensate. So I always say to people, to be truly, but it doesn't mean that you have to have a person, or just slowly look at your whole life in general and just try to work one by one and address those issues. It doesn't have to be perfect. I always say to people, it's not about perfection, it's about improving and progressing. Right. It's not about being perfect. No one's life is perfect.
That's right.
But we can improve. Everybody that they need to find their own balance. My balance is not your balance, it's not somebody else's balance.
Right, that's very
yeah, and that's why for me, I also wanted the book, the Inflow Fit Method book, to be educational and practical. Educational in the sense that there's no one solution fits all. We all know that now. But for me, it's so important for people to understand the basic rules and guidelines of health and fitness. And you know what? And then you can, once you understand that, you can go and try, tweak and find what works for you. You don't have to follow my diet or Randi's diet. Follow your own diet, you know? Right. Try and see what works for you.
Right. Do you believe in like the keto diet and the paleo diet and those kind of things? How do you feel about that?
Excellent question. Again, I would never, as a professional, recommend any particular diet for anybody. I always say to people, each individual is a unique metabolic unit. So you, again, have to find what works for you. I know that the keto diet for some people, actually epileptic patient, has been used in that sense because it helps less sugar, help them in that sense. But that's for the medical people to speak about. It's not up to me. But what most professionals have noted that if used for a longer period of time, like, you know, beyond 3 months or something like that, it becomes an issue in terms of kidneys, because there's a lot of animal protein and uric acid that has to be obviously dealt with. I always say to people, with the body, there's no free lunch. You do something that the body will respond in a way. That's why I'm for balance. Balance.
And so my husband and I did keto, but we did it vegan keto.
Right.
So if you're doing that, you're not going to be producing that excess of uric acid. Do you see that that there's a limit on how long you should do that?
Yeah, I don't believe that there's, again, we evolve all the time, don't we? And we face so many things, and your body changes. Us women in particular, that your
Every day,
needs
every
when you were
moment.
20, absolutely. Your needs when you were 20 are no longer your needs when you're 40 and beyond. So, and I think that's one of the reasons, Randy, that I'm against standardization. Period. You know, standardization, like, still within the government guidelines, I'm actually still shocked that we still use that. That here in the UK, 2,000 calories for women in general. It doesn't matter her, you know, her lifestyle. It doesn't matter her, you know,
12 to
age
60,
or,
right? 12 to 60.
you know what I mean? Exactly.
Right.
And a man is 2,500 calories. What is this? I mean, surely we can go now in the 21st century. Surely we can move beyond that. For some reason, we're still on it. So
I like that you
yes,
incorporate. I like that you incorporate mental health in this. That's really important to me.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do, you know, on a regular basis, is work with people with their mental health. And you mentioned something about sun, which kind of resonated with me, because part of my daily protocol given to me by my doctor is 15 to 20 minutes of sunlight every day. What does that do?
Absolutely. It's also as a recommendation in my book as well. Healthy sun exposure is so important. Well, to be honest with you, vitamin D3, it's still not understood fully. We only just beginning to understand the role it plays. First of all, it's called vitamin D3, and actually it's not a vitamin, it's a hormone.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a vitamin. Actually, the food industry, funny enough, called it vitamin because they add vitamins now to our foods, because most foods are depleted from basic minerals and vitamins. So they add synthetic ones and say, hey, you know, you can have a healthy, you know, bar of whatever, or cereal, or it's added to our most foods anyway. So it's added, and they decided, sure enough, to call it a vitamin. It's not, it's a hormone. It's very complex. But the issue, I'm not sure what your doctor said, but usually vitamin D3, in order for to allow the absorption of calcium into the bones, you need K2. Okay. So a lot of people, and particularly if you don't have cheese, meats, you know, vegan type of diets, actually you need that. I personally take vitamin D3 K2 as a supplement in the winter, because obviously there's not enough sun here in England. So, you know, you're lucky enough to have enough sun.
I live in Florida. We have sun all the time.
Absolutely. But I would like to add this important fact is, a lot of people cover themselves, or with regard to this sun exposure, they're so worried about obviously being burnt, which is right, obviously. But the latest research shows, in order to really get your vitamin D3 dose, healthy dose, you need to expose yourself. I mean, mostly, you know, your upper body or your legs, or your maximum exposure. But when the sun is at its highest, not lowest, to get that, you know, so when it's at its max. But obviously you can do that for 20 minutes. But then after that, yeah, put sun blockers or whatever, you know, that's fine. But people are so worried when the sun is at its most, they actually automatically cover. And no, expose yourself for 20 minutes, then you can do the covering. So it's so important to raise, you know, awareness about that.
Interesting. So we absorb that through our skin?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're not any that different from plants after all. Maybe it's not photosynthesis, but we need the sun in order to be healthier, for sure, for sure.
So, if we were using the Inflow Fit method, where would we start?
Oh, excellent question. Love it. Basics. The whole point of the Inflow Fit takes you back to the basics of health and fitness. Sleep for me is the number one, because you just know that if you have disturbed sleep or a bad night's sleep, everything goes haywire, from you not being able to focus to eating whatever. And in my book, scientifically, I show how, you know, a bad night's sleep or not enough sleep in one night literally can send all your hormones all over the place. So even your decision making when it comes to healthy options isn't there. So you tend to actually consume, and apparently according to research, most people who don't sleep well, they actually consume between 200 and 300 extra calories.
Really?
Yep, just with one night. So you can imagine. So sleep is so important, and it's all about a routine. Again, it's not the number of hours, but it's the quality again. Yes, the numbers are important, and I think we're different again. I know that usually people say 7, 8, usually it's between 6 and 9, you know, depending really.
Right.
But it's how I always say to people, just see as soon as you wake up, how do you feel? And that will tell you a tale, you know. If you feel, I'm not saying amazing, but if you feel, yeah, actually, I feel good, yeah, that means your sleep is good.
Enough.
If you feel not right, then, you know, and there's so much actually what we do during the day as well influences, you know, the quality of sleep that we get.
Okay.
Like I put the whole list of, you know, disruptors of sleep, you know, alcohol, caffeine. I think, underestimate how much we take, and then we think, oh, you know, I'm not feeling great. Well, go back to what you're doing during the day. That tells you a lot. It's all about keeping a routine. The other thing, which is again is extremely important, is hydration. My gosh, I mean, there's so much that's been done regarding hydration. And the latest is that people who are overweight are 10 times more likely to be dehydrated than leaner people. It just goes to show you. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that,
and I think,
is that because of the way their body metabolizes, or it's just they don't drink as much?
well, the latest research shows that one of the reasons we actually store fat storage obviously is, I mean, it's a mechanism to enable us to, you know, survive the harsh times, which we don't have anymore. It is not just to save energy and sort of put it for harder times. It's also water, because when we burn fat, what we get out of that is water as well. So actually, the body produces its own water by burning fat. Okay. So if you're not drinking enough and eating too much, you know, of the wrong foods, of course, well, you're completely dehydrated. And whichever you drink, it isn't really enough to get into the cell. So the cell inside remains a little bit dehydrated, and that's a problem.
How much should we be drinking?
Well, it's a very good question, Randi. And again, I don't like standardization. I think it depends who you are, how active you are, because if you sweat and work out a lot, yeah, well, obviously you need at least to double what everybody else is drinking. Right. But the other thing, what most people don't understand about hydration, is not just about water in and out, it's about electrolytes as well.
Right.
That's why in the phase 2, I talk about the magic of water and the importance of eating your hydration. So a lot of your water intake should come from the fruits and vegetables you consume. Right. And funny enough, the latest research shows that type of water that's contained in fruits and vegetables is directly absorbable to the cell, while that's called actually structured water. And the formula for that is H3O2. So it's not H2O. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean that's like, you know, so again, it's balance. It's balance, you know. But it's so important. It's so important. And I think the first thing that I tell my clients, you have been sleeping for about 7 or 8 hours. You're already dehydrated. As soon as you wake up, the first thing you do, of course, after smiling to yourself, yeah, is to drink. Drink plenty as soon as you wake up. You know, a minimum of 2 glasses, I would say. Because that in itself, you know, flushes the toxins, helps your system to get going, and at least you start the day right. But quite often, a lot of people go straight to their coffees, And coffee is dehydrating if you take too much of it as well. So is that balance again?
I keep water by my bed, you know.
Oh, well done. So do I. So do I.
Because in the middle
Absolutely.
of the night I get up, I'm thirsty, you know. And when I
Absolutely.
get up, I take a
Absolutely.
drink. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's good. Um, you were talking about how important sleep is. There is a lot of insomnia that it's a pretty common issue. I've never had insomnia. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 times in my lifetime, I've had a night or something like that. But so many people have insomnia. What do you do? Is there something that you can do other than changing your daily diet? What if you don't drink coffee? And what if you know,
Mm, mm.
sometimes you're just up because you're ruminating thoughts. So what are some suggestions that you can do?
Absolutely, Randy. I mean, it's massive. First of all, I think, the phones, the technology has a lot to do with, people, not being in their right mind, or frame in that sense. But one thing, I think we worry a lot because of, again, the complicated lifestyles we lead today. But unfortunately, it affects a lot of people. What happens, outside of you, affects people a lot, which is understandable. So one, technique that is actually part of the Inflow Fit method is to actually write down your worries before you go to bed.
Mm.
And it's unbelievable how just putting those, worrying thoughts in paper and just putting them on the side, it's unbelievable what it does to you.
Mhm.
It actually creates space, because we think, oh, no, 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 it doesn't matter whether I write them or stay in my head. No, if they stay in your head, it keeps going, because that's what the brain does. It takes you in a journey of nonsense of stories that actually don't, because it's like trying to protect you,
That's right.
by providing you with the worst case scenario. But the worst case scenario never happens. Thank God for that.
Right. You're
So
right. It doesn't.
no, no. So writing down, at least, and it's honestly, if one thing I can recommend also for people is to keep a food in a diary mood, or something like that, that where you jolt down. It doesn't have to be, people, when you tell them keep a diary, they think, oh, I haven't got the time. I'm not asking you to write every single thing, but it becomes like a roadmap of where you are, where you want to be. I mean, even when you go to your doctor and he's going to ask you questions about what you have been doing, what have you been
Right.
eating, if you don't keep it down, you can't remember everything. Oh, I've done this and I've done that. So it's actually a very good thing to have, a map to to find out, or to tell your doctor, whoever, or your professional you work with, saying, you know what, this is what I've been doing. What do you think? So yeah, it's magic. Writing down your worries is magic. Absolute
Yeah,
magic.
I really like that. I mean, there are, I like that doing it before bed. I'm going to actually
Yeah.
recommend that to people, but sometimes people worry all day long and they feel like they've got to keep that worry going.
Mm,
And so I usually tell them, you choose the hours you're going to worry. You can only
absolutely.
worry between 7 and 8 or 1 and 2. That's your worry time. Other than that,
Absolutely.
you don't have to worry. And it's amazing that you can really control the degree to which you worry about things.
One thing I always tell people, wherever your focus goes, your energy flows, right? So I say, and also anything you focus on expands. Funny enough, I say, if you focus too much on your problems, do you want them to expand? I don't think so. So
Right.
put them aside. You know,
Right.
put them
That's true.
aside.
Exactly. That's good. Um, so what else do we need, or would you like us to know about the Inflow Fit method? So we need to sleep. Talk about breathing and that kind of thing. Breath work.
Yeah, no, again, once again, breathing is so key. See, again, it's always the basic, isn't it? Your hydration, your sleep, it's not complicated. Yes, breathing is magic. Breathing is life. This is why, the moment we're born, what do? We scream. We give a breath in, we inhale and then scream it out, because it's the first thing we do. And funny enough, when we, pass, to another life, we stop breathing. So breath is life, whether we like it or not. It's magic. It actually has the power to change your pH in the blood. It's amazing. And we don't do enough of it. Unfortunately, again, the quality of the air is quite shocking in some parts of the world, and that's a fact, So to compare ourselves to our ancestors, we're not nearly have enough oxygen or breathe properly. So that in itself is a disaster. And on top of it, because it's done for us on the auto, or the autonomic nervous system.
Right.
Unfortunately, we just think, hey, I don't have to do. But there's a difference between, it being done, for you and you consciously breathing. Massive difference. Massive difference. I mean, obviously, in my book, I have 3 types of breathing. One is actually called the coffee breath, one is water breath, and the third one is whiskey breath. It's actually names that have been chosen by a yoga teacher. So, and I love that, and I thought I'll put those because it's so much easier to remember as well. So basically, coffee breath is literally to oxygenate the brain more. It's just like the effect of coffee. It wakes you up, gives you more energy, because when the brain gets more oxygen, it's alive, right? And you can do that in the morning or before exercise when you really want to hype yourself up, just like
so you
coffee.
breathe and you just focus on it going to your brain.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the technique is, they are small like sneezes. So you start actually with the coffee breath, you start with the exhalation first. So if you sneeze through your nose, like, at some point you can't do it anymore, so you have to uptake a lot more oxygen, and you see that relaxation. We can try it. Shall we try it?
Yeah, so what we want to do is empty our lungs out, because when we breathe and exhale, there's still old air.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we do this?
Exactly. Yeah. The water breath is literally just, if you want to relax, just like water. It's hydrating. It's like, nice and easy. 4 in, 4 out, or 6 in, 6 out, nice and easy, in and out. The whiskey one is that you inhale 4 or 6, and then you hold for another 4 or 6, and then slowly exhale double. So the exhalation is a lot longer, and that relaxes the system and puts you, and you can do that actually before sleep as well. That encourages you to literally relax a lot more, and you can fall asleep easily. So it is magic. I mean, breath is magic. One fact that actually most people don't know. So when we say someone, actually, I'll ask you that question, Randi. So when you say that, oh, I lost 5 kg, okay, so where did that 5 kg go? Where did it go?
It burned up. I mean, we used it up, or I don't know.
Yeah, I know. So the common belief scientifically is, we thought, is thermodynamics. So it gets sweated out, and throughout the whole mechanism. Why is that true? It's only 10%. 90% of your fat loss, or whatever you lost, is actually through the breath. Is O2, thin air.
It comes out.
Yeah, CO2 is carbon dioxide. Yeah. And that's in my book, and you can check the scientific research behind it. Yeah.
Can we breathe ourselves thin?
No, unfortunately, the breath doesn't work like that. No, it doesn't work like that. You still need to do the work. But that's why breathing is so important, even when you exercise, to focus on the breath in and out, to help the muscles oxygenate, because we're using oxygen to burn that fat. So efficiency in the breath helps, increase metabolism as well. So it's unbelievable. So next time, people think I lost 5 kg, well, it's all mostly, carbon dioxide is gone.
It's in your room. It's all over your house. That's so cool. You have 3 phases to the Inflow Fit Method, and system reset, system detox, and state of flow. So can you talk about those 3 stages and how they change?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's three phases. Well, phase one is back to the basics. It really focuses on how to progressively adopt a healthier lifestyle. Again, by working on your sleep, your hydration, focusing on nutrient dense foods. We use the replacement strategy when it comes to nutrition. So you need to obviously keep a diary on what you usually consume during the day, and you can sort of put down, this is obviously highly processed, which we know is very unhealthy. So try to replace, for instance, if you eat a lot of chocolate, you know what, switch to dates, or it's something that's still sweet, but it's so much better for your health, or dark chocolate, 85%, 90%, start with 70 if you can't. There's so many, solutions. So slowly wean yourself off, those unhealthy habits. Phase two is really the detox. So we want to detox the body, obviously, from inside through the different protocols of fasting. And something that I think not many people talk about is the beauty products and how cleaning products that we use that actually affect us a lot. Because remember, a lot of people don't realize, but your skin is an organ, and it absorbs just as much as when you drink. Okay. So whatever you put literally on your skin affects you. So we want to correct that as well, because although the studies to prove that certain toxins from those products actually have some quite an impact on our health, they're not really proven, so we're not there yet. But just to be on the safe side, you want to really be careful of what you put on your body. And I'm really glad that a lot of companies are realizing that, and even the big brands are now coming out. I'm not sure about you in the US, but here in the UK, it's a big thing where you go on the shops and a lot of your normal brands are writing 95% or 96%, 98%, a natural origins. Oh, thinking, oh, now you're telling us, right?
That's good.
Great. I'm glad. So you were poisoning us today. All of a sudden, you're all good. That's fine. I take it. Thank you. So it's so important to switch to, particularly when it comes to beauty products. I mean,
so we want natural. We want
natural. And again, Randi, beauty comes from within, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not against, but if you focus on your hydration and sleep, you know what? You look great. Yeah, you don't need that much nonsense. So that's phase two. And also in phase two, we focus on detoxing the mind as well. It's so important because the programs we watch and listen to, they do affect us, whether we realize that or not. So we need to decrease the level of negativity we listen to, be it through the news or or even our own stories. We need to create that distance. It's so important. And for me, by the way, Randi, I haven't watched the news or normal TV for the last 6 years.
Wow.
I do not. And when people tell me, oh, so you don't know what's going on, I said, listen, bad news always travels fast. Whatever I need to know, you know what, I would know.
That's true.
It doesn't add to any value to me. I focus on, obviously I'm in control. I can watch the podcasts I like, but I don't need to watch the mainstream at all. I don't feel the need for it. So that's phase two. Phase three, we come onto the rebalancing the energies and state of flow, where we focus on emotions. We are emotional beings. Sometimes we tend to forget that. And while emotions are so important, they are, they are our senses of how well we feel, Right. So they are important, because when you talk about what emotions, people say, oh, emotions are bad. No, emotions are very important, but there's a difference between living that emotion in that moment, even frustration or anger or resentment or, but it's staying there. That's problematic.
Yes.
It's staying there. So live that moment. It's an energy anyway. An emotion is an energy in motion. So just live it, and then let go of it. It's not worth having.
That's great
So
advice. It's great advice. You know, people are afraid of their emotions, and if they just allow it, it comes and it goes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, and I've actually, to be honest with you, I had noted some of my clients, not all of them, initially they do really well, with the diet and the sleep and all the advice and adopt a healthy lifestyle. But at some point, their progress halts, and all of a sudden they go back to who they were. And I was wondering why. So by sort of asking them questions, you realize, oh my God. So they were holding certain resentments vis-a-vis, people in the funny, some of them out past, their dads or their partners, or they're not even in this life. I'm thinking, you're holding on to that. It weighs you down. You need to let go of that. And of course, everybody is different, but what most clients actually use, my personal technique, is to literally write a letter. Just write a letter to that person and then just destroy it, burn it, whatever. Again, it's that distancing. There's something about writing, Randi, that's magic, honestly. The moment you put your thoughts or whatever worries you down in a paper and then getting rid of it, it's like magic.
Absolutely. I use that a lot with my clients, and I've used it for myself.
So do I. Absolutely. It's magic.
Because we don't want to carry resentments. So,
oh my gosh,
if you're feeling like a victim and you're carrying resentments, it's time, to let it out. Tell that person, you can say whatever you want in writing.
Oh, exactly. It's about you. Absolutely. And then we get to the cherry on the top, or on the cake, as we say, is the state of flow. Obviously, the state flow, again, some people get lost in the notion of flow because, according to psychologists, it's that altered state of consciousness where creativity and peak performances happens, or people witness that. But for me, honestly, again, I see it as a very, very simple. For me, the state of flow, I always draw a parallel with water, because who's the master of flow? Is water. And because we're 70% water, you know what? Water doesn't like resistance and doesn't like to be stagnant. So it needs to move. Right? It's the same thing with us. Whether emotionally or physically. That's why actually exercising is great for you, because 70% of you is water. So you shouldn't be, sitting down for too long. You need to keep moving, right?
Right.
So for me, flow for me is getting, or at least reach a certain level of getting rid of any resistance, physically, mentally, emotionally. And you know what? Everything flows. Yep. Everything flows. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Whereby,
a lot of people are, they feel like they have to control their lives, and it's a miserable feeling to be in control all the time, and I use that same analogy. I'm like, when you're resisting, that flow is going
absolutely.
like that.
Literally banging your head
against, like blocked, I said, let it down and just let it go.
Absolutely.
And life has a flow to it. I agree with you.
Absolutely. And it's funny, I was teaching Pilates today, and I was telling people, to relax. Do you realize, Randi, that truly, people can't relax? We can't. A lot of people are unable to relax. Even on the floor, I say, guys, just let go. And it actually hit me hard. Oh my God, actually, people, we're unable as humans, generally speaking, to actually relax and trust the universe. We don't. Because we were taught to be in control all the time. Mm-hmm. It's mental and physical. We hold so much resistance and tension in our bodies and mentally. It's unbelievable. So you tell people, relax, and you see them still tense. Mm-hmm. It is what it is,
Yeah, it's like when you do a guided meditation, and they start going from the head down, and they're like, relax your forehead. You don't even realize that your forehead is tense until somebody says, relax it. Relax your cheeks. You don't even realize your jaw. I mean, we walk around
absolutely
tight, until,
Absolutely.
we pay
Absolutely.
attention to those areas, and it's like, oh yeah, I am tight there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just, it's a journey, isn't it? It's a beautiful journey. And that's one of the reasons I'm so against, the fad diets and the old model. Just start somewhere. Start with the basics. Work on your, becoming better. And you know what, Randy, if we all did that, focus on ourselves, improving, little by little, you know what, we'd have an amazing world.
Yes, we
Then
would.
we don't need to correct politicians anymore, do we?
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, if each person focused on
A
themselves,
bit.
making the
Yeah.
best version of themselves in every way, we'd have no problems.
No, no. But hey, I actually, part of the also, in order to get to, for me, in order to get to the state of flow, acceptance is important. Acceptance is so important. And I think it stems from the understanding of what life is all about. And I love the Hindu and Buddhist philosophy, because it's all about that, the dualistic nature of this life, at least, because we haven't known any other life. We have to accept that dualistic nature, day, light, bad, good. So bad and good, we have to, take a distance from that. It has to exist as the other, face of the coin. You
That's right.
can't have good without the bad. And I think once you know that, as a philosophy, you know what, you relax, so you're
I'm
not
glad,
judgmental anymore.
I'm glad that you brought that up. I think that's a really important thing. And when I work with people who have gone through or suffering from narcissistic abuse, one of the hardest things for them to do is accept that the person that perpetrated this onto them is not going to be any different. They're not going to change. That's who they are. And it's very hard for people. I'm like, once you come to just a blanket acceptance of it and you just go, that's who he or she is,
Yeah,
it releases you. But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
hard for some people to do.
Yeah, because again, it stems from their understanding what life is all about. And I think we need to teach our kids, that it's so important. Honestly, for me, education is the number one. Honestly, to change people's lives, we need to work on education,
I
and
agree.
start with the basics. So yeah, just understand that it's not up to us. People, they are actually, I now see people at their own level of consciousness. As simple as that. Some people are more conscious than others. As simple as that. It's not they are better than me. There's this continuum of evolution, and everybody somewhere has a point. If I'm here and somebody else is there, it doesn't mean I'm ahead of them or better than them. No, I'm just there and they're there. That's it. You know what? At some point, maybe I'll halt there and they will go there. Who knows? I don't know. So
Right. Yeah, measuring ourselves against other people is a thing that really hangs us up and makes us upset, because what we do when we measure ourselves against others, where they are, what they're doing, if they're better, if they're prettier, if, whatever it is, we begin self-abuse. We beat ourselves up. We start telling ourselves that things are wrong with us. And that's what comes when you compare yourself to others. Everybody is unique. Everybody.
Yes.
And we need to embrace that uniqueness in ourselves.
Absolutely, well said. I don't know if you know Sadhguru or not. He's the Indian guru. Sadhguru? No, never heard of him. Yeah, no, he's this guy's magic. His famous expression: "We are all unique idiots." I think damn right. So that's okay. And it's true. Actually, with the more we know, I don't know about you, Randi, but for me, when I dig, deep into the science, obviously, of health and fitness, thinking to myself, oh my God, the more I sort of get to research a little bit, I just realize I'm only on the surface. There's so much we don't know. It's unbelievable. So to pretend that, hey, this is it, or this is the solution, or I found it. Come on, it's
Mm-mm.
it's not. It's not.
I've been on the journey for 40, almost 45 years. I've been on a journey of holistic health, trying
Yeah,
to figure out what is right for me. And it
absolutely.
has changed, you know,
Of
because
course.
for women, postmenopausal women, our metabolism is very different. What I used to be able to sit down and eat a box of cookies. Wouldn't do a thing to me. Now I eat one
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
no.
bloat. So it's, you know, it's, you have to get used to your body. But there's, I've been learning. I've been on this journey of learning for so many years, and I know I'm not done, and that's okay.
No, it's a never-ending process. Never ending until from the day we're born, we evolve until the day we, go to the other side, whatever the other side
Transition,
is.
right? We
So
transition,
that's all right.
right?
And I think we need to honor that and enjoy the process more than anything else.
Right.
Not focus
It's a
on anything.
mindset, you know.
It's a
It's
mindset,
it
absolutely,
is. It
absolutely.
is. We can think any way we want, you know. But this is so inspirational, Mimi, because I mean you're hitting on all the high points. I completely agree with every level of what you're saying, and I'm really glad that you're putting this all together in one method, because all of these things are crucial for our holistic being, for our mental health, our physical health, everything.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, no, no, I totally agree. We resonate, with that for sure. And I also think that only a holistic method can do the job, because we are multi-dimensional, beings that need a multi-dimensional solution,
That's right.
rather than one thing. So
Yeah, Western
absolutely,
medicine has never worked for me.
no, no.
Mm-mm.
But again, Randy, when you think about it, unfortunately, it has moved away from what it was initially. Back in the Greeks, they used to those, holistic methods from the start. You
Right.
know, food is thy medicine. Come on, the Greeks knew that. I think, unfortunately, you want my personal diagnosis as such. For me, honestly, I blame the industrialization. Again, it's not a blame game. It's just an observation more than anything else. The moment you know, the industrialization took really too much of a stance within our lives, that's where everything went wrong. You know, obesity, stress, you name it, right? Because before that, life was much simpler. The farmer used to make the food, you go, you buy what you need, and you go home. Today, no, it's big conglomerates. Am I against that per se? No, Randy, I'm not that, because a business, wants to make money. That's what capitalism is all about. Again, capitalism, it is what it is. But I'm always, and going back to the conservatives, when I was with the conservatives, I quite often, whenever you're not part of the mainstream, and they come and say, "Are you sure you're conservative? Are you sure you're conservative?" And I go, "What does it mean to be conservative? What does it mean?
Mhm.
You know? Yeah, I mean, I'm for capitalism, but responsible capitalism.
Right.
For me, the state has to be at the top. Whoever does wrong need to be put where they belong.
That's right. You know,
Where is
what
the
about the money? You know, like big pharma and so much of
absolutely.
what's poisoning
Yeah,
humans
yeah, because
is
because
big pharma.
unfortunately both the food industry, as well as the drugs, industry, they sort of work together, at the same time, and literally messed up our health, whether we like it or not,
Yeah.
because it was all about profits, not people's health.
Right.
And I think, unfortunately, us human beings, we learn always from crisis, don't we?
Oh, yes.
It's sad to say that, Randy. It's sad to say that. And I'm hoping that we're gonna rise in consciousness and start correcting things before it's too late. That's my only hope.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm still hopeful.
Yeah.
So
Adversity is what grows you. Absolutely. All of us, everyone that's in this healing business,
Yeah.
We've all come from adversity and we've risen above it, and that's, you know, and that's how that's what has brought us to where we are, so that we can be mentors for others.
Very true. Very true. You need to honor that. Yeah. Well done. Well done.
So is there anything else about this method that is important for us to know?
Well, I think we touched upon pretty much everything. I think the only thing maybe we missed out is exercise. Funny
Oh,
enough,
yeah.
I'm a person that love exercise.
Let's
I
talk
think
about
in my method, again, I take people back to the basics. You don't need to do complex things. Just keep it simple. It's consistency more than anything else. And that's why in my book, I talk about 5 basic exercises that everybody needs to do every day. Is that 5 minutes every day that's going to give you results within a month or 3 months, rather than your trips to the gym for a couple of hours every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because you haven't got the time, let's face it, you know. And it's the squat, it's the basic, the lunge, the shoulder bridge where you lift your hips up, because it's so good for the spine. So I focus a lot on the spine. Being a Pilates instructor, for me, the spine is so important to look after it, especially as we age. So, you know, anything you do to look after your spine is so important. Stretches, just stretching every morning for, you know, a few minutes will do wonders for you, for your body. But unfortunately, we get into those, you know, busy lives, a lot of nonsense, and we get entangled in that, and we forget about the basics. So my book is really about reminding you about the basics.
And walking is important.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, especially after your meal, it does really wonders. Particularly if you're aiming to lose fat, you know what? Keep the walking after your main meal. Of course, not straight after, but half an hour, 45 minutes after you had your main meal, because then at least that food you just consumed is used as energy. It's not stored as fat. So it's more, you know, conducive to you being healthier.
And, you know,
Absolutely.
this is also logical, but as I said, you have put it together as a method. I really, really like it. It makes total sense to me.
Doesn't it? Doesn't
It
it? I
does. It
know.
makes total sense. And I like how you've put it together because, you know, I'm aware of all those things,
Yeah.
you know, but putting it together in a holistic way to make you the best version of yourself, that's what's really special. So tell us about your book.
It is very educational, very practical. So I wanted both. Educational because I'm a believer that only when you educate people why they need to do what they are supposed to do, they can actually truly embrace it. Because I can come to you, Rani, and say, okay, you want to lose 5 kg, here's your plan meal, here's your exercise, you know, plan. You will do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, you know, whatever, as long as you pay me, of course. And then once, you know, that contract between us is I'm no longer supervising you, I'm no longer checking on you, you know what, you go back to who you are. Then that's the classic, you know, personal trainer model. Because you're not really understanding the reasons why I, you know, tell you need to cut that. Or so for me, I want people to empower people. Knowledge is power. Actually, knowledge is no longer power because we have so much knowledge. Practice is power. So we need to practice. You know, unfortunately, a lot of people, I've seen actually that a lot of people consume a lot of knowledge on what they are supposed to do, but they stay there with the knowledge, accumulating more, waiting for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. That no, it doesn't matter. You agree, whatever I give you resonates with you, start practicing. Start practicing straight away. You know, what changes your life is how much you're willing to practice that knowledge in your daily, you know, habits, rather than, you know, tons of information, right?
That's right. You're
because
right.
actually too much choice kills the choice, we say.
There gets to a point sometimes where you can overload yourself with information, and then instead of learning, you get stressed. It's too much.
Absolutely, well done.
Overwhelming.
Overwhelming, exactly.
I get a lot of my clients who once they learn about, what they've been experiencing, they just read and read and read and read and read,
Yes.
and they go on forums and they listen to things. And what happens is they begin to get confused because there's so much and not everything applies to them. So then they begin to question what they know and they read some more. And it can make you crazy. You have to find reliable sources and learn from them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's exactly what I've done. I mean, I've done enough research for years and years, and I'm thinking to myself, the only thing I can do to empower people is to, again, not overwhelm people, just enough to, give them that piece of information with the backup of science, of course, which is important.
Yes.
But then go straight. And I think the beauty of my book is it gives you a bit of the science and why you should be doing that. But then straight away you get blueprints, what I call blueprints. I talk about hydration, great. Here's the blueprint. And you know what? You don't have to just take what resonates with you.
Right.
If you're already doing most of your drink in the morning, then you don't need that. Just move to the next one. You know how to improve your electrolytes, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
and I think that's the magic of it, that you don't need now to read, I'm not saying, you shouldn't, but obviously reading all the books is important. But if you truly want to focus and dedicate your energy to at least getting the basics right, just go ahead and read and practice. It's very simple. I made it really simple. That was the deal.
That's good. And your website is inflowfit.com, right? Simple.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And your book is everywhere. I see that you
it's on Amazon,
UK, and I'm sure we can get it in Amazon here in US and
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad we got to talk. We had a little bit of glitch getting this started, but great conversation.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate having you on. It was so nice to meet you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm a great fan. You're doing an amazing work. Let's keep it going.
Thank you so much. Okay. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. All the
Bye-bye.
best. Thank you. Bye.